So we have covered Git basics. Now coming to Node.js. So basically, in simple word, it's an environment to run JavaScript outside a browser. So yesterday in introduction, I have asked you guys what is Node.js and explain some of it. So basically, it's an open source runtime built on Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. So what is Chrome V8 JavaScript engine is whatever you write the JavaScript code in Node.js, basically it's compiled using Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. So in Chrome browser, we have some engine running which converts the browser JavaScript to a readable format which the machine can read. So similarly, to execute Node.js, in the like we have a layer at the backend when we start run a node file or start a node server, it compiles code with the help of Chrome's V8 JavaScript engine. So you can read more about this in the docs. Okay, so it was created in 2009 by Randall, and many developers has contributed to this framework, and now it's everything. So what you can create in Node.js, it is like everything you can create, let's say from API, libraries, scripting. If you want to automate some task, if you are opening a website, filling a form, everything can be done in Node.js using Node.js. So as last line says, pretty much anything, because Node.js is everything now. Okay, so this is just a brief. Now what is difference between browser JavaScript and Node.js? So it is build interactive apps for the web, and Node.js is basically server-side apps and scripts. So in browser we have DOM. I guess Ratnesh or Laksh has covered some brief about DOM. So browser JavaScript helps us making changes in the DOM. So here we don't have any DOM kind of thing or any visualization thing. It's all code and it's all running. Okay. So we have their window. So if you have used JavaScript functions, we have some window dot some functions. Okay, so we don't have any such facility in Node.js there. So fragmentation, let's keep this explanation. That will be you like I can take it, but let's keep it for now. Then again, we have modules here. So as Lakshya has taken, we have even a package manager for different modules, and also we can create our own modules, which we'll learn in later sessions. Browser JavaScript cannot access to a file, cannot have access to file system, or doesn't have access to file system. Node.js has access to file system, so you can read a file from your local directory, machine directory, or delete a file, anything. Okay, asynchronous, which I'll be taking now, and no browser-based API. So this is just a overview what is difference between browser and Node.js. So you'll learn more while we will go through later sessions. Okay. So today in this session, I'll be taking async code. So what is asynchronous? What is synchronous? What is difference between asynchronous and synchronous? Okay. Node.js is single threaded and async like browser, but you will probably do more async things. So what is single threaded is what other languages are, PHP or Python, let's say. So basically for every request made by some client to the server, they are multi-threaded. They create multi-threads and are executed on multi-threads. So Node.js is single thread, let's say single line, on which every request is executed based upon what needs to be executed, and it is scheduled accordingly on that single thread itself. Okay, so Node.js is event based. We can listen to several events. Okay, so we will cover about events in later session. So event is basically, let's say we have a event when a user clicks a button, or when a user do something. So but clicking a button is an event. So what needs to be done when that event is triggered? So that is kind of lame language, that is event, how event works. Okay, so it works same as it works in browser. So as the browser JavaScript is not shared. When you open a website on your laptop or on your browser, everyone has their own copy of their code which executes in their own local machine in browser, Chrome browser or any browser. So Node.js is basically shared by all clients. We have only one backend server which is being handling all the things for all the clients. Okay, so now we'll go understand what is synchronous and asynchronous. So I've created a sample code here to explain you the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Okay, so this is, we have required a package name file system. So this is inbuilt, this module is inbuilt in Node.js, comes with Node.js. You don't have to install it with Node package manager or something like that. So there are some modules which come inbuilt with Node.js, so you can learn more about it, search yourself, and you can share among your teammates. Okay, so take that as a task and share it amongst yourself on Discord or WhatsApp, whichever is feasible. So basically, yesterday I have given a brief what is synchronous and asynchronous. So how we have an idea that code runs from line 1 to line 9 in an order. Okay, so first code will run, execute this line, then this line, then this line. Okay, and so on. So this is synchronous nature. What asynchronous nature is, code will execute this line, this line. When it comes to this line, if it sees that this line is taking some time, let's say 2 seconds or 4 seconds. Okay, so it will run this task in background and it will execute that line when it's ready to be executed or ready to give an output, and continue going to line number 5. Okay, so basically what I will show you, we have one file.txt in our directory which has content we are learning Node.js. Okay, so this is our synchronous code. So this will go from line 1 to line 6 in an order. So I have printed some console statements. So start, and then I have printed data from the file, and then end. So ideally synchronous nature, considering synchronous nature, how should we see the console outputs? We should be seeing start, then the content of this file we are learning Node.js, and then end. Okay, so let's execute this file node synchronous.js. Okay, so as you have seen, this has been executed in order of what code we have written. First we have start, then the data which we read from our file, and then end. I will now add one more statement to our code. Okay, here after this. So ideally how it should go, start, content from the file, then it should wait for 3 seconds, then print inside timeout, and then end. So now let's check whether it works that way or in different way. So output is not the way we assumed. The code did not print in an order we had written the code. So how it has executed, it has printed start, it has taken the contents of file, it has printed that. So the code has seen that this line takes 3 seconds, and then we'll print this. Set timeout function is basically it waits for 3 seconds. This is the delay which it gets, and this is what should be executed after that delay. Okay, so it has it started counting 3 seconds from there. it came to line number 6. It has seen that it takes 3 seconds, so it starts counting it and add it to the queue, and it prints inside timeout after 3 seconds are done. So it has like when it came to line 7, it saw that this can be done before 3 seconds are complete. So it has done, it has printed the end before inside timeout. So basically this is asynchronous nature. So this is mix of synchronous and asynchronous. So even sometimes the file we have is very small, only one line content. So let's assume we have 10,000 lines in a file and we want to read that file. So even that will take few seconds to read, let's say 2 seconds or 3 seconds. So it will hold the code here. So what we do, even we can make this operation asynchronous. It will add, the node will add this line to a queue. It will execute the other lines. Okay, so I have one again separate code to explain you asynchronous and how it is done. So basically I have this I'm reading this file.txt here. Okay, so definitely the reading a file will take some operation. Basically reading a file is basically IO operation. You can google what is IO operation. It is something which are doing apart from code. So we are accessing a file system, we are finding a file, we are reading a file. It is everything executing out of.
कि एक पूरा एक कॉमन टर्म्स बनाए थे, मैं रिवीजन कर देते हैं पूरे कॉमन टर्म्स के। दैट कस्टमर सेगमेंट जो रहेंगे फर्स्ट, सेकंड, थर्ड, फोर्थ, फिफ्थ एंड फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर के स्टूडेंट हमारे लिए क्रिटिकल रहेंगे। एंड फ्रैक्शन ऑफ 12th एंड 10th जिस ऑर्डर में लिखा है उस ऑर्डर से हम हिट करना स्टार्ट करना है। इट्स लाइक फर्स्ट हमारे कस्टमर रहेंगे जिनको हमें रिटेन करके रखना है 4th सेमेस्टर तक, इस तरीके से ऑर्डर में लिखा हुआ है। what value that we are going to provide them is like provide exposure, guidance, career option, helping them to explore extracurricular activities, then different perspective, like maybe reading some skill or देखना अलग तरीके से, and knowledge sharing in terms of boot camp, YouTube video, and apart every other stuff. Then day-to-day
Ratnesh,
apparel such as notebook, magazine, T-shirt, and other option. जो हम
Ratnesh,
लोग
sorry to
सोचते हैं,
interrupt.
and one-to-one guidance is also our value.
Rajat, please, like, was he explaining us something or he was on some other thing?
So I feel he was on another meet.
Okay,
तो
I
वो
have.
यहाँ पे
Okay,
Sir,
okay.
his voice is also breaking.
So
I
actually he was on the meet. वो यहाँ convey हो गया.
Okay, okay, fine. So just ignore whatever Ratnesh said, and sorry for the inconvenience. So, is everyone able to hear me properly? Because I have like a strong network connection, so I don't think there must be any problem. Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah, okay. So let's continue. So basically what I am reading a file here on this line 4. So it will take some seconds. Okay. Read more about IO operations. Okay. Just note down what are IO operations. Share whatever you have findings, please share amongst yourself so that everyone are on same stage. Okay. So what I have done in this code is I have printed this statement after the reading of file is done. So this asynchronous code will give us result start, then it will add this reading of file to a queue, it will print end, and it will show this result of the file after this is done. So after this is done from the queue. Okay, so just now let's execute our code. Okay, so as I have told you, it has given start, end, and it has given us the data inside the file after the reading of file has been completed. Okay, so basically the way we have written here is this function, it is basically function. So if you have I guess Laksh has covered some arrow functions or has told you to read more about arrow functions. So basically this is a function which has two arguments, error and data. If error, throw error, else print the data of the file. So this function is known as callback function. So this is a common term used in Node.js. While you are programming in Node.js, callback is a common term. Okay. So what callback does is this function is executed after the parent operation is done. So basically our parent operation is reading a content of file from file.txt. So when this operation is done, whatever seconds it takes, it will print this data, and then so this line was executed earlier itself because the reading took time. So let's compare this with set timeout. Okay, when if I write this code in a way we have there. Okay, so as you can see, similar thing. I will split the screen. I will open here. Okay, so you can see the similar thing there here. So this we have a callback function here that will be executed after this time. Okay, so I have added bracket at wrong place. Okay, so basically this is function. Okay, and this is okay. So the again set timeout has a callback function which was executed after 3 seconds. So similarly, reading a file took some, let's say, 1 second. So the callback function was executed after the reading of file was done. It was cleared from the queue and was ready to be executed, and this line was printed. So did you guys understand difference between synchronous and asynchronous? Like, it's a new thing for everyone as a beginner. So you can ask doubts. Let's make it interactive and let's understand it properly, because this is a core thing in Node.js. Because in this is a single threaded application which runs in a asynchronous way. So every code you write executes in a asynchronous way. There are ways to make the code synchronous. So it's must that you understand this concept properly. So anyone who have doubts can ask now.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, prior to running the code,
Excuse me, sir.
can we,
Vedant, your voice dropped after first. I couldn't understand you. Can you please repeat?
sir, is it audible, sir? Hello?
So you were not audible.
Hello?
Vedant,
Sir, am I audible?
I don't know. Is it problem with my internet connection or yours? But
Rajat, can
your
you
voice.
hear me?
Vedant, you can
Rajat,
type
can you hear
the
me?
question if possible.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah, please.
Okay, sir. So actually, prior to running the code, can we judge whether the particular section will be executed after, or I mean, in a synchronous code, you have taught that some codes may take time. So can we judge whether this will take more time than comparison to this particular section prior to running the
Yes,
code?
so there are some common things which takes time, and Node.js skips those, add to queue, and then proceed ahead. So those are like I told you, IO operations, reading a file, deleting a file, whichever it access a file system or other operations, or fetching some things from database. It also takes times, uh, take time, take time, and there are some other operation which you will know with while you are coding, or you are using in daily basis some things. Okay, so these are some common things which we know that this will take time, so we have to write code in a callback way. Okay, so let's say if you are connecting to a database and it takes 1 second. Okay, so you want to modify something from the response of database, so that should be done in a callback function. Similarly, if I want to add something here, let's say we have a content here, we are learning Node.js. Okay, after reading a file, I want to concat it with one more statement in college time web development bootcamp. Okay. Now, yeah, just a second. Yeah, in a we have to concat that. So what will happen if we do in a synchronous way? This console statement will throw an error. Okay, this console statement will throw an error that data is undefined, because reading a file will take some time and code will go to line 5 immediately, keep adding this to a queue. So the actions that are to be done after a particular operation should be added in a callback function. Okay, so there are many ways to make a synchronous or synchronous operation synchronous. So basically, in this example, it added this line to queue and executed this. So what if we want to wait for this line to be executed and then execute this? So there are different ways to make synchronous code synchronous, or make code wait somewhere. Okay, so that we will cover in next session. So those are like promises, async await, and callbacks. These are the three things to handle. Callbacks was the first initial thing in Node.js. Then came some update. Callback promises are the updated version of the callbacks, and after that there were some more improvements. Came async await. Those are more like a easier way to handle the asynchronous operation. So these are the three things through which we can handle the asynchronous nature of Node.js. So before tomorrow's lecture, if you have interest, you can learn or read more about callbacks, promises, and async await. Okay, so I will just demonstrate how basically this works. So I have one visualization for you guys. Okay, so is my browser visible to everyone? So we have last 9 minutes. Okay, so just be quick in answering if I am asking something. Okay, so I guess my browser is visible, so I'll
Sir,
continue.
can't see.
I guess Vedant, you have some internet connectivity issue. If you if you don't understand something
Yes,
in
it's
YouTube,
visible now.
yeah, you can watch it on YouTube again. Okay, so let's not waste time. So
Yes,
I
sir,
have
sure.
this,
Please.
yeah, I have this code start. I have set timeout function for 5 seconds. I have this end. So according to the asynchronous nature, what should be printed here? Start. Then this should go in queue, and end will be printed. And once the 5 seconds are completed, this will be printed. So I will just show the how the code executes. This is the visualization of that, so that you will understand it better. Okay, so I'm saving and running. So as you can see in call stack, every function that is executed was added. The function which took time was added to a queue here, and once that was complete, it was added here down, and then it was added to call stack again. So what is call stack? Every function or every line that is being executed by Node.js is added to call stack. So console.log was added to call stack, set timeout was added to call stack, even this was added to call stack. Okay, what things go here in web APIs is basically the functions or some executions that take time. So we have given a timeout of 5 seconds. So this is definitely going to take 5 seconds. Okay, so this was added to queue here. Once the 5 seconds were complete, so as you might have seen that timeout was written there. So this is basically callback function. Okay, so timeout function needs to be executed once the 5 seconds are done. So that timeout function was counting 5 seconds, and then it came here once it was ready to be executed, and then it was immediately added to a call stack. So I'll just rerun it again. So as you can see, did you see guys, end console.log end was added here and then printed here on the right side. Okay, so if we remove the timeout function, okay, if we remove and simply add console again, console.log second console statement. So basically this will print in order. So console.start was added, second console statement was added, third statement was added, and was printed in order. So like, was this visualization good enough to explain you the nature how the code was working in the background?
Yes.
Yeah. So any doubts in synchronous and asynchronous? Definitely this topic is vast. You can learn more on Google, like we are covering basics and from a beginner perspective. So anyone interested in learning more about this can learn himself or herself. Okay. Yeah, please go ahead. Someone had doubt.
सर मुझे डाउट ये था कि मतलब एक्चुअल में वो पॉसिबल नहीं है बिकॉज इवन अगर फाइल 10,000 टू उससे भी ज़्यादा अगर लाइंस का फाइल है तो स्टिल इट विल बी इवेल्युएटेड इन 2 to 3 seconds. बट अगर कोई फाइल है जो टाइम आउट जितना हमने दिया है उससे ज़्यादा टाइम में इवेल्युएट होगी, तो जब वो टाइम आउट ख़त्म हो जाएगा तो किसी भी मतलब जब भी वो टाइम आउट ख़त्म होगा ये कंसोल डॉट मतलब आउटपुट में कंसोल में वो हमारा जो आउटपुट है वो प्रिंट हो जाएगा क्या, या फिर एट द एंड ही प्रिंट होगा जब सब खत्म हो जाएगा?
Don't confuse between set timeout and reading a file. So basically this is running in browser, so I cannot read a file. So that's why I have given example of set timeout. But reading a file has its own time. We don't give explicitly that it should read for 5 seconds and then print. So I will go to that code again. So what this does is, callback function does is, this is executed only when this operation, reading a file operation, is completed. So you don't have to worry about how much time reading a file will take. So this callback function will run automatically after this is done.
Got
Okay, set timeout was just an example to give a delay to the code, as I cannot give actual delay by creating a large file, or that was not a proper way to give a demonstration. So I just use set timeout as a thing to give a delay. So don't confuse between two things. This is manual delay, this is code delay, basically system delay, you can say. So was your doubt clear, Deepak?
Yes sir. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. Anyone else? So like, just I need feedback. Are you guys understanding what I taught or whatever I am teaching, or am I able to convey it properly? Anyone who is not able to understand things whatever I am teaching? Okay, I'll assume that everyone is understanding at least something, not everything, but at least something.
Yes, sir, we are understanding.
Okay. So any doubts? We have last 2.5 minutes left. Anyone? So initially I'm going slow because these things are new to you. So definitely will take time to, and you will take time to understand the things. So later we'll speed up a bit because we have time constraint as in weeks as well, like for number of sessions as well. So I want you guys to have confidence on basics, and then other things can be done easily, whatever we are going to cover in next sessions. Yeah, last 2 minutes, so be quick in questions or any doubts. Anything you want me to explain again in tomorrow's session, or anything you want me to cover?
Sir, can you suggest some good resources from where we can learn about Node.js more?
So standard and most reliable thing is Node.js docs on their website. Others, you have some courses on frontendmasters.com. You can definitely take a course by I am not remembering the name of the tutor, but he has a channel, Academind on YouTube, Academind. He's a famous
Okay.
tutor. You can definitely learn from him. His videos are easy to understand. Okay, so you can learn from, and also he has some free playlist on YouTube as well. So you can definitely learn from that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.